Hi, and welcome back to another episode of Live on Location with Bowen and Mimi. We are in beautiful Revelstoke, BC. I am with Heather Hood of the Mountain Goddess store, the natural health store in town. And I'm excited about this because I hear that Heather's a lot of fun. She's very kind and she loves poetry. This is what the word is on the street.
Oh, yeah. I like rhyming. Yeah.
You like rhyming?
I like
Yeah?
rhyming, yep.
Does that go back to like 80s rap music or?
An unknown niche that I tapped into early on that's become an inside joke with my husband that I exploit a lot.
Is this
Yeah.
true?
Yeah.
And you know, there's all kinds of unexpected things
Yeah,
that happen when you're
absolutely.
at an outdoor location. Like
Yep.
we were at the community gardens
Yep.
with Isabel Kessie, and we had the trains going by.
Oh yes.
So-
That's the town we live in.
It's the town we live in.
Everyone hears it everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, well, tell me about living in Revelstoke. Have
Yeah.
you always lived here?
No, we spent a partial winter here in 2001, and I loved it and wanted to stay. And my husband didn't want to stay, so we kept trying to come back, and we eventually landed here in 2008. And it's been an incredible experience, just being part of this community. And just everything that surrounds us. I don't think there's been a day that I wake up and not feel in awe of like what I'm surrounded by. It's like cornflakes every day. They're great.
It is. And this picnic table is quite an incredible location, right?
It is. You really-
So, we picked a good one.
Yeah, it's a fantastic location.
Yeah. I'm just thinking about you as a little girl and your relationship to the family kitchen table and food.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I grew up with my mother who always prioritized good food, and so we've always had this connection to food. Like we would go get our goat's milk from this farm, and we knew where all of our meat came from. We had a big garden, and so my entire life I've had my connection to food. When I graduated from high school, my dream was to eat iceberg lettuce and store-bought chicken. I have no idea why, and it was a great disappointment. And then you really realize, looking back, like how fortunate you are to eat good food and know what nutrition feels like and just have that privilege. And so I feel like that's something that's been part of my value system my whole life, and it's something that I feel really grateful to be able to provide through my store.
And you went into horticulture.
Yeah, so my grandfather went to Olds College in the 30s, and it was his dream to have a grandchild go there. And
Where is that college?
it's just north of Calgary.
Okay.
And it's an ag school. I floated around for about 4 years and kept getting pressure to go back to school, and this appealed to me, and so I went and I did my degree in horticulture, which led to me getting into viticulture, which I did for 8 years, and spending time in the Okanagan prior to arriving here.
Right. So for some people who maybe not be so familiar with horticulture or
Yeah.
the other culture you mentioned.
Yes. So horticulture is basically the study of plants. I focused in nursery and production growing, working with large scale in greenhouses, and then viticulture leading to the study of grapes. So working in the wine industry and getting to experience that whole other world that was very specified.
You'd mentioned your grandpa.
Yes.
So what did he end up doing? Was
He
he a farmer or?
Oh yeah. So my family's from Armstrong, and my grandfather's name was Matt Hassan, and him and his father were the longest running managers of the IPE, actually.
Oh, interesting.
So
maybe you could speak a bit about the IPE.
Oh, yeah.
'Cause there are probably people watching that don't know.
So it's the Interior Pacific Exhibition. It happens around Labor Day weekend every year in Armstrong, and I think my family's always been very connected to agriculture, horticulture. So that was something that I, grew up with, going to my grandparents who had a large yard with large gardens, and then my own mother, and now myself. So my grandfather he was in the auction business as well as insurance.
Okay. And I think the IPE is also, is it one of the largest fairs in Canada or Western Canada anyways?
I think so.
We'll just like toot toot,
Yeah,
we'll say that
we'll
it
have
is.
to-
We'll look that one
I will
up.
definitely look this up. Yeah.
Yeah. And your husband, is he also in the same industry that you were in?
No, my husband works for Wildfire, so he's gone a lot. He's very supportive. Like in any entrepreneurship, it's definitely a team effort. Even if he's not in the store working with me, the background that he does to support me to be able to do what I'm doing. I think we're very lucky because my busiest season is in the winter where he's quieter, and I start to taper off in the summer when he disappears. My kids are very involved in the store. They will come stock shelves or serve customers, and as much as it's my business, it's very much wouldn't be able to do it without the involvement of my family.
Yes, you need a big team to keep a store running for sure.
Well, and that's how I feel about my team in general. Like they are the most valuable asset. I know they're not assets, they're people, but it's the most valuable part of my business because without them, I don't have a business. And it's lonely otherwise. And so I feel like you have this wonderful organic process every day of everyone bringing their experience and personalities and touch to the store, which makes it what it is. And as staff moves on, it becomes a different iteration with the same core values of these really wonderful people that seem to be attracted to each other to make Mountain Goodness what it is.
Absolutely. And you were actually staff at Mountain Goodness before you
Yes.
became the owner. So
Yes, I worked there in 2014. And then I had left the store and gone on to another job, and this opportunity came up to buy it in 2018. And I jumped on the opportunity because I knew I'd wanted to purchase a business that was established. I hadn't found the correct one that I think aligned with my values or what I wanted to do. And it was a really wonderful gift to be able to carry on with the community that's part of it, and just it's kind of this culmination of all of my values and of food and people and community.
yeah, and it's a bit of finessing when you take over someone else's business and you love everything about it, but then it is yours.
Yeah.
So you kind of get to be a bit playful and creative, I would imagine, but at the same time you're trying to keep that balance of not changing things too much because you want to
Absolutely.
retain customers or staff or
Yeah.
What was that part of the journey like for you?
I was actually talking to my accountant about this morning, saying that I, in the first year, really tried to change nothing so that it wasn't this big disruption for the customers. And really my goal was for them to not notice that Christy, who had purchased the business from, had left. And it really went quite well. Like we really didn't change a lot. We didn't increase any prices. We just kept things pretty much exactly as they were. And I think that was very good so that it didn't shake people up. And then basically about my 1 year anniversary, the pandemic hit, and it kind of changed everything, where I was forced to be going from moderation to extreme adaptation. And I think that is what instigated any of the changes that happened in the store. And I think that despite it being an incredibly hard time in business, I feel like the most beautiful things came out of that. I feel that we, as a result of curbside pickups, people would have to give us their names, and we'd have to write them on their orders. And so we started creating these relationships with people, and maybe we were the only people they had seen all week, or the only conversations they'd had outside their homes. And so through this, we developed these wonderful rapports with people, and it's something that has really continued through the business. I feel that we really know our customers by name, and we have this foundation that we formed with them during a crazy time in life. So through that, I think that's where the changes started happening, through these conversations with people, or maybe trying to make it more of a one-shop stop. And that was sort of the evolution of Mountain Goodness. It definitely wasn't something that needed a radical change, because the foundations of what was created, we really have tried to continue by just making little tweaks here and there as things have changed.
Yeah, so when the pandemic hit and these beautiful relationships started developing, what were some of the challenges that you went through As far as, did you even know if you could keep your doors open,
Yeah.
or how did you make decisions in the initial weeks when this happened?
I think it was a lot of unknowns. My husband wasn't living here. I had two small children who had no school, who were having to come into the store. We had to really keep to ourselves. So I was surrounded by just my colleagues and my children all the time with our doors closed until we were able to sort of figure out what was going on. And as things became more apparent and we were able to start opening our doors, then everything just kept adapting as the rules changed or evolved. And I think that, yeah, it was just a crazy time. No one knew what was going on. All I could think was, here I have this massive loan and I don't know what's going to happen to my livelihood.
Yeah.
And I think at times it was incredibly difficult because a lot of people were off work and having all this time at home to live life. And I felt like it was Groundhog Day. I'd drive down these bare roads every day, go to work, see the same people, and then drive home as people were sort of social distancing, having cocktails on their lawn, and thinking to myself, this is the busiest I've ever been.
Yeah.
So in the moment, I think it was incredibly difficult. Supply chain was tested. I had a lot of very late nights trying to source products before they were scooped up, and the amount of time that I put in was incredible. But it paid off because we survived.
Did you have to lay off staff in the initial times, or you were able to?
I was so fortunate that all of my staff stuck with me the whole time. We became incredibly close. The majority of them stayed with me for those 4 years, from when I purchased for 4 years. And that was, I think, part of that was the closeness we formed as a result of being stuck with each other. I could have gone either way, but there's definitely some strong bonds that formed as a result of it.
Yeah, you're a family.
We're a family. We always are at Mountain Goodness.
So when you moved through those challenging times and sort of re-envisioned the store coming out of COVID, what were the things that were most noticeable? Did you change a lot of products, or did you change the flow of the store, or what?
For sure, the flow of the
What were the
store, because
changes?
you had to have the directions,
Yeah.
so that changed. So we did a bit of a rearrange of the store.
Did you, just out of curiosity, did you keep that?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, we really kept it. It worked really well. So we changed the layout of the store so you followed the one direction. We were always wanting to find more local products, but again, not wanting to change a lot drastically in the first year. I sort of didn't pursue it too much, and I was also trying to learn the business. So it forced me to also find products closer to home. So a lot of things were ideas I had that I had to execute faster than I had anticipated. And so it was a very great outcome. And then forming these amazing relationships with suppliers close to home who we, again, got to visit. I got to leave town when it said, you're not allowed to leave town. And the highways were ghost towns, and
Like, it's
you're just like,
essential.
it's a supply run.
It's a supply run.
So, and it was.
Yeah, well, very scary times, I suppose, for Revelstoke being so cut off.
Yeah,
And-
I think that we probably fared better than most people because we were allowed to go outside, and this is where we got to go for.
This is true. Good point.
And so for us, I think we were able to recreate, which is what a lot of people are here to do, and to be outdoors. We got to enjoy that. And I don't know if it forced us to be an even more tight-knit community.
Yeah. I guess I was thinking about, in the sense, for food security reasons, that those kinds of challenges with the disruption
Yeah.
of bringing food in.
I think that's another time that maybe we tested a bit more was when the atmospheric rain happened on the Coquihalla, where we were cut off to Vancouver,
Right.
where a lot of our supply chain that's outside of our immediate area comes from. And so I think that's where that tested some of our food security, because it was hard to get products through. So then I was having to find accounts in Alberta. I was meeting trucks at like midnight. I was hand bombing things off the truck, like just to keep that supply chain going, trying to figure out if certain trucks with sleeper cabins on them could back in my alley. Like, it was a really sporty time of trying to continue that flow. But I also felt a little bit insulated from it because I'd been forced to find stuff closer to home leading up to that. So I think there were things that we were definitely cut off from, but I also feel that it insulated us a bit as well. Mm-hmm. And that was a great outcome. And it's just kept us on that trajectory since then.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're able to develop more relationships with locals, local producers, farmers. Sure. I guess you're connected with a lot of the vendors at the market?
Some of them, but some of them, I would say, like, yes, a lot of the food-based businesses we are connected with for sure and have their products available through the store, depending on the seasonality. And then I source a lot around the Okanagan and the Shuswap region. It's nice to hit up the Kootenays, but transportation is always an issue that way. But we're getting more creative to get that flow of supply chain here of these amazing small-scale suppliers or farmers that I think are so important in protecting our food system.
Mm-hmm. Do you have some local favorites that you carry in the store that you'd want to highlight?
There's so many. Like, there's so many in Revelstoke to begin with. Like First Light Farms, Terra Firma Farms. We have our honey from Dew Fresh, and then we get stuff from Wildflight Farms and Mara. So those are some of our immediate local suppliers. We have Stoke the Fire, who was originally based in Revelstoke. So those are the people that are our hometown locals that we love. One of my new suppliers that I'm loving is a company out of Creston. It's a man and his wife who have a grain farm, and they mill their own grains. I think that they are the type of people we need to be investing in because they care about the heirloom varieties and keeping things organic, and they're part of the players in protecting our food systems and food security.
Mm-hmm. Supplements. Let's talk supplements.
Oh yeah.
You can enlighten me.
Yeah. Well, I mean, again, these are funny. I had this conversation. It's a daily conversation in the store where people say, "I want to feel better. What should I do?" And my first inclination is to say, well, do you eat a diverse diet of fruits and vegetables? Because I truly believe that the best way to get nutrition is to try and get it from your food first. And then there's obviously things that can be helpful towards people. I think that living where we do in Canada, D3 is something in the winter. I think that that's maybe the most important one. There's a couple more that I think, again, if you have a vegetarian or vegan diet, like those are other things that you have to think about, those nutrients you might not be getting. But yes, we sell a lot of supplements. They're very popular. They make people feel better.
Does someone who sells supplements have to be specialized in that?
Well, for us with supplements, we do more knowledge-based learning about supplements than anything else. But we're not doctors or professionals that can prescribe. We can make suggestions, but we never want to make the wrong suggestion. We don't know what medications you're on. We don't know your health history. Mm-hmm. So if people come looking, we will try and find what they're looking for. Mm-hmm. But that's sort of how we approach it.
Right, and I'm guessing you have a lot of product knowledge workshops with your staff, or trying to keep everyone up on the knowledge?
Absolutely. And I think they have this thirst for learning, and they want to learn, and they see that our customers crave that knowledge. So if there's a product that we have in the store, we always talk about it. And a lot of the time, the products that we're getting in are products that I'm excited about, a new connection I've made with a supplier, or I really try to have a phone call with every supplier or a face-to-face meeting. I feel really grateful to have met the majority of the suppliers in my store because I feel grateful that I am representing and have the privilege of selling their product. I see it as sharing their story because I think that most products have a story behind them, and it's gotten to the point where a handful or more than a handful of our customers say, "Okay, Heather, why is this? Tell us the story. What's the story behind this product?" And I just feel that it makes the world just a bit more small and connected.
Yeah. Do you have a favorite story of a product?
I don't know. I feel like there's just
There's so many.
So many. I don't know. It'd be hard to pick one. I think one product that stands out for me is a product called Boreal Heartland. They're out of Saskatchewan. It's an Indigenous company that teaches the local population how to ethically wild harvest their products. And so it allows people to go out and harvest them on their own time, and then they buy it back from them, and it gives them a connection to the land and a way to do it properly and respectfully, and then it gives them a revenue stream.
Thanks for sharing that one. Yeah. So back to supplements.
Oh yeah.
Do you see trends that happen?
Oh yes. There are
So,
trends.
Yes. Tell
There's
us about
trends
the trends.
that you
Do you want
read
to
about.
rap or do a poem about the trends?
Yeah. It never ends. I think that sometimes we'll get people coming in all day or for a week, and all I can think of what is happening on TikTok. So then I reference to my younger colleague, and I'll say, you got to look this up for me, like what's going on. So sometimes there are these internet trends and fads that hit that are at times humorous. But I guess sometimes there's a seasonality. I mean, mushrooms are very big right now, and it's nothing new. It's just a knowledge that we maybe haven't tapped into or remembered or forgotten about in a long time. So I think functional mushrooms are definitely something that have been around for a bit and continue to gain popularity. And I think, again, it's a food-based product, and so there's definitely trends. They go in waves, and I think often if it makes someone feel better, great, but I never want people to just buy something in a fleeting moment and it cost them money and didn't do anything.
Right. I don't know if this was coincidence. Last night I happened upon the Liver King.
Oh yes. I mean, liver care is something that we get a lot of questions about.
Yeah.
And I think, again, just from like my learned knowledge, is that like environmentally it's something that's tested. It's an organ that does a lot of things in our body, and environmentally can be affected, hormonally can be impacted. And I think that people often are wanting to take care of their liver. I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing.
Yeah. No, it's not. Okay, let's talk hormones.
Oh, that's a doozy. That's loaded. How much time do we have? I often think that we need this website called like, why aren't we talking about this? Because I feel that, without being polarizing, a lot of scientific research is done on men, and women, we kind of get this back seat. But I feel that slowly that's changing, and maybe more research and thought is going into, well, maybe we are suffering a little bit. So it's real. There are changes, and I think a lot of women silently suffer a lot with these changes that our bodies are going through. And I think that I was reading, I don't know, maybe last year, don't quote me, but it's something that I think we are the longest living species who, after we are able to procreate, continue living, if that makes sense. Like often,
Right.
A female animal will procreate and then die within a few years. We continue living basically half of our lives. So I'm sure that, there's lots of different changes that we go through, and it can be a really hard time on a lot of women because you're dealing with these different symptoms that are impacting your daily life that you're just having to adapt to, which can be really difficult.
And are you seeing a lot of women coming in to the store and asking questions about that? Or?
Absolutely. Yes, we get a lot of conversations. And I think, honestly, that, there's options between natural supplementation and hormone replacement therapy. And I think that a lot of the time, what I appreciate about it is just acknowledging that, you're going through this. Yes, it's something. Like, I hear you, I see you. And just having that connection so that they don't feel like maybe they're going crazy.
Yeah. And what about men? Are men coming in and asking for
Men are
certain
definitely
products?
coming in. Yes, we're definitely seeing a increase in men looking for testosterone supplements or things to boost their testosterone because they're starting to get older and they're feeling those changes as well. So I would say in the last year and a half, we're seeing more of that trend as well. Yeah.
Some hot topics.
Hot topics.
You'd mentioned earlier about having been in the wine industry or studying grapes.
Yep.
I'm curious if you're still involved in that at all, in Revelstoke in any way.
No, but I was very fortunate for many years. We have a local publication called the Revelstoke Mountaineer that I was able to write a wine column for, so I still had that connection. It's been a few years since I've been involved, but I still get excited about growing seasons, and I still have friends in the industry, so I still have some connection, but it's slowly waning.
Yeah. Well, Mountain Goodness takes a lot of your time, I imagine.
And then some.
And
Yeah.
then some,
Yeah.
right? So that's 7 days a week. Like, what are your hours? What are your days that you're open?
We're open 7 days a week.
Yeah.
My favorite thing that people say is like, "Oh, I never see you," and I'm thinking I'm never not working. So
Yeah, that's
I feel that if I'm not in the store, I'm doing something related to the store. I feel that I've kind of lost that balance of personal life and work life, because if I'm not working, then I'm supporting my kids, and because I feel that my children are growing up so quickly that I'll get to that point of me time. And I don't feel like I'm doing without, and I don't feel like it's unhealthy, because I get my moments to sit out here doing this or my morning walks or bike rides. But the reality is I put so much into my business, and I do it because I love it. There's so much passion there. I see the appreciation from my customers. I see the excitement of my team, and so it's what drives me.
Well, you get what you put in, and you've been
Yeah.
putting in a lot, and it's been so great to hear about Mountain Goodness.
Yeah.
And I keep wanting to say Heather Good
Oh yes,
because of the goodness,
yes,
but it's Heather Hood,
double H.
double H.
Yeah.
I really appreciate you coming to talk with us about this incredible store that we will visit today.
Amazing.
And do you have any last minute dreams that you want to share with us for your store, for your business,
Oh yes.
for yourself?
I'm always dreaming and scheming.
Yes.
I mean, one day there is a small evolution of Mountain Goodness that I would like to see happen, and I'm truly of the belief it will happen when it's supposed to. And yeah, I'm definitely working on something right now, and we'll see how long it takes me to execute it.
Okay, it sounds like it's a bit secretive. It's
Yeah.
cooking
It's
right
cooking.
now.
That's
in the
everything.
kitchen.
It's always cooking.
Yes. Well, we'll check back in with you.
Amazing.
Thank you so much for your time today, Heather.
Thank you for your time.
Good to meet
Okay.
you. We'll see everyone again from windy, gorgeous Revelstoke.